Aye. Oh, stand up.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to
to
the
the
flag and to the
of
government
the United States of America, to the republic
for which it
for
which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
and
with liberty
and
and
justice
justice for all.
Okay. Get my agenda up here. Call what the meeting to order. Any emergency additions or modifications to the agenda that was published? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda. John,
Second? Can I second it?
yes,
I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Or do we have to call the roll?
please.
Let's call the roll. Thank you, Kathy.
Member Norris,
Aye.
Member Hook,
Aye.
Member Wallen,
Present.
and we're voting on the approval of the agenda, Chris.
Sorry, aye.
Thank you. Daryl,
Aye.
that passes 4-0.
Thank you. Now we want to move to the minutes of the October 7th, 2020. Do you have those to put up? That we can look at them?
Adam, do you have them in front of you in the agenda? Are you sharing a screen with David?
Adam, I made you a co-host, so you can share your screen.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Yes, 1 second, and I will pull them up. All right. All right. Here are the minutes for the October 7th meeting. We have the approval of the agenda, the approval of the minutes from the June meeting, the oath of staff for Member Burkett, or the oath of office, sorry. And then here are the discussion items of the Measure J projects and overall bond program. How we were going to complete last year's annual report. The upcoming meeting schedule and future agenda items, which were, I believe, covered in the next one. Any questions on that one?
None?
Does anybody have any questions on the minutes?
Nope, no questions for me.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve them?
Would you like to see February's minutes and then clump them as
Both
well?
at the same time? Sure.
All right, 1 second. I'll pull this up. Tiffany's much faster at this than I am. She has a lot more practice. All right, here are the February minutes as well. Call the meeting to order. There were no actions, and the special presentation was the projects completed on the tour of Nordhoff Matilaha as well.
Correct.
And as obviously there was an open discussion about Measure J projects, but there was no committee discussion.
No
So,
action.
no action. So, any questions on any of that?
No?
Okay, no questions. Kathy, is it all right to approve both of them at the same time?
Yes,
Do I hear a motion to approve those 2 minutes?
So moved. John Hook?
I'll second that. And can we take a roll call?
Yes. Member Norris,
Aye.
Member Gooden, Daryl, I'll come back to you. You're muted, sorry.
Sorry, I just got in with my computer.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. We're voting to approve the minutes of October 7 and February 24.
Okay. I looked at them. I'm fine with that.
Thank you. Member Hook
Aye.
and Member Wallen.
Bingo. No, I'm just kidding. Aye.
A winner.
Is that a confirmation, Chris?
Yeah, I got an aye in there at the
Thank
end.
you. Very good. The minutes pass 4-0.
Well, the next item is for any public comments. Do we have any
we-
public comments?
No comments were received in advance.
Very well. Now, the next item is a discussion of the annual review of the annual report.
And I will share that as well.
Okay,
Oh. Maybe not. Oh, there it is. There we go.
Yeah, I see it.
You can see it, right?
Yes.
All right. So what we did is we kind of mimicked, obviously, the last report we did. And we can just run through it real quick. If anybody has any questions, we can go back or you just holler as you go. As we go, obviously, we changed the dates. The title page here remained mainly the same, except for obviously the committee members. There we did have one committee member that unfortunately resigned. That was Kate Wilson, but everybody else is obviously listed on there. The next section is the audit findings, which the audit report is not in yet, as Kathy alluded to in the email out to everybody. Due to COVID, it's just being delayed a little bit. We do anticipate having it in the May meeting. So the process here is, our thought is we will review this report. If we agree or make any changes that we'd like, or call out any changes we'd like in the report, then when we get the audit report, we'll plug it in. Everybody can review the audit report. And then on the May meeting, we can approve this report as a whole, including the audit report. Plus that'll allow time for the board to obviously approve the audit report as well. So as you can see though, we did update the numbers. So the Measure J expenditures here for 19 to 20 were a little over $9 million. And again, we will wait for the audit report and then we'll plug in the new link with the new audit report at that time. Any questions on that? It's again, virtually the same. It does call out obviously the meetings we had here with the anticipation of the May 5th meeting where we will approve the report. All right. Section 2 is the DSA projects. Section 2 is the projects completed. And this report or this link has been updated as well to take you to the newest, latest, and greatest. We do have one number here that we're waiting on, and I actually got it the other day. And it's $27,396,000. So we will update that for the May. But so Measure J's expenditure and encumbrances through April of 2021 are just north of 27 million of the 35 million. So as you can see, we're spending away and we're building away. So the next is the DSA projects. This has remained unchanged since our last annual report due to the one outstanding project is actually tied to the Nordoff completion, the library completion. So as soon as the library is signed off, they will also sign off the one outstanding DSA project that we have that dates back to, I think, 2010, I want to say, something like 2012.
Even further that. So the one, yes, but we do look to have that sign off in the library done, but before the end of this fiscal year.
Right.
Adam,
Yes, sir.
just going back to 2A a second, you said the Measure J start from 2015 to April 2021?
Yes.
Because that, the draft is 2020. At least the
Right.
draft.
Right. But in the last report, we went to 2020 just because it gives a snapshot of.
You're not using this, you're using this just as a template, so.
Correct. And
Okay.
so we extended the spending to 2021 just to give a current number of what we have spent on
Okay,
the
so
bond.
so in May, you'll have that as 2021?
Yes.
Okay, great.
But,
Okay,
and like I said, it's just north of 27 million.
okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No problem. So the DSA projects, as we said, we have one. Remains unchanged from the last report. We do have one left. As Alan said, we do anticipate actually having the library signed off by the end of this fiscal year. So by June, shortly after we do this report, so our next report next year, we will not have any open DSA, incomplete DSA projects from previous bonds. So kudos to David, in handling all this even before Alan and I got on board. So like it says here, there were 32. We came on board, I think there was 5. And so we've wrapped up the rest. And that one will be signed off as soon as the library's done.
Nice, that's great.
So that's good. And,
Can I ask a question?
yes,
Sorry, I'd like to be the person who shows up late and immediately asks a question. So,
shoot away.
And this may be the wrong time to ask it. I just was wondering, one of the things I'd asked about last year was regarding the gym project at Matilaha. Is this the right time to ask about that, or should I wait?
We can talk about that under future agenda items.
Okay.
That sound good?
Yep.
Okay. So the next section talks about the overall master plan for Measure J funds. It remains mainly unchanged. The only thing is we did update the number here. The last report, I think we had 32 million up there. We have just over 31 million that's currently allotted under Measure J. So we have basically some funds in there that are not allocated for specific projects yet. But with the community support of Measure K, we do have a lot of projects now that will kind of ebb and flow between J and K depending on just the timing of the projects, to be honest with you. So we have a large plan, obviously, that we presented a couple months ago to the school board for Measure J, the remainder of J and K. So, but this report is just for J. The next report, Kathy and I discussed, will be just a bond report because it'll kind of go with J and K while we're doing both. So, so of the 35 million, 31 and change is currently planned for in Measure J, with again, some of those coming, some projects from K will come into J. The bond program manager, this remains as well unchanged from our last report, item C here. And it is, that's the only section I can see that if we want to update it at all, it basically talks about, again, the need for having 2 bond managers. And since this, in the next report, just due to the timing of when our skilled maintenance worker for the bond program came on, in the next report, we'll be including that staff position. But since this is for 1920, we didn't want to include that in there yet, since he came on technically after that time frame. But if there's any wording that anybody has an issue with or would like to change, obviously now's the time.
What's the name of the staff person?
Right now we have Kelly Haslam. He is the skilled maintenance worker for the bond program. And so he's actually been able to, the idea is we are able to do a lot of the projects in-house and not have to pay the prevailing wages or for a lot of the smaller projects. You know, we're doing a light refresh of the Nordhoff gym or the Nordhoff locker rooms, and we're able to tackle some of that stuff in-house and not have to pay the contractor fees to do it.
And actually, just today, we had a situation where there was a couple of walls that needed to be painted prior to installing some shelves in the library. And that would have been a change order because it wasn't part of the original scope for the contractor, but we had Kelly do it instead and probably saved us a couple $1,000.
Right.
Nice.
So it allows us, frankly, to just spend the money a lot more wisely and get a lot more done for less dollars. So as I said, though, that portion will be included in the next year's just due to the timing on when he came on board. We didn't want to put it on the 1920 report. And then section C is unchanged. It again, or section 3, sorry. Section 3 talks about the COC, the role, the background, the committee purpose, authorized activity, all of the above, stating that, you know, we're spending the money on what we're supposed to be, the audits that are coming, is all of the above. And then again, here's the background information on the bond. Again, that goes, is unchanged as well. Just give some history of it.
There's a line in here about at minimum 2/3 of the deficiencies will not be funded by this bond measure. Is that bond measure K or J?
That was J.
Oh, okay.
So
And that was based on the assessment that Balfour Beatty did of having roughly $1 million in anticipated expenses or items that could be expended on, and only having a $35 million bond.
right. The initial needs assessment, if you recall, was a little over $100 million. So
Yeah.
this is just some history on J and the initial needs and all of the above. So,
Okay.
and that's it. So if anybody, any questions or concerns or changes in verbiage, otherwise what we'll do is I'll plug in the new numbers, and when we get the audit report, we'll plug in the audit report. In the May meeting, as I discussed, we will review the audit report and then vote on approving this report as a whole.
When do you expect to get the audit report?
We think it's going to be very close to the May 5th meeting.
So it'd be nice to
Um,
get that ahead of time so that.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
want to get it to you ahead of time. You will get it as soon as we get it.
Right.
There were just so many delays because of COVID restrictions and the auditors, the time frame.
Should
But as soon
we,
as we get it, we will forward it to you.
yeah, should we think of the possibility that we won't get it by that meeting and?
Well, we hope not, because the board meeting is May 14th, and we'd really like it to be on that agenda.
I'm,
it-
as I think I've mentioned, and Daryl will be running that meeting because I'll be out of town.
Right.
So
And-
I'm just thinking of, if it doesn't come in, I don't know. I don't
If
think.
it doesn't come in, we could wait. We could reschedule your May 5th meeting.
It doesn't make much
um,
sense to have the meeting in May 5th if we don't have that audit report.
Right. When, Kathy, when do we expect to have it?
We hope to have it around the 1st of May.
Okay.
I just don't have a firm date, and your report includes the audit report. You don't have to, it's not an action item for you, but it's there for your information. But your bond report includes that information. Your bond report needs to be approved by June 30th. So worst case scenario, if it's not available to us, we set a June meeting.
Right.
And we do have 2 June board meetings. We have one on the 2nd, and then I think the 30th, I think. So if we don't have the audit report, we could push our May meeting to a couple weeks if needed. So
So what is the triggering mechanisms for the go, no go for the May 5th meeting? Is it a drop dead date of the 3rd? If we have the report in hand by the 3rd, we go forward. Do we have a sense of that, Kathy? You have
We
a
could,
thought?
we need to publish your agenda.
Mhm.
Now that document doesn't really have to be within your agenda, but we
Mhm.
like it to be. So let's see.
we have to publish,
My
correct?
calendar. We need to
We have
publish,
to publish 72 hours prior to, is that correct?
Okay.
Correct.
Is there a time limit on when we have to cancel the meeting? Should we get it on not have it by Monday the 3rd? Is 48 hours enough to cancel and move the meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll go with that. Okay.
Sounds like a good plan.
so let's say the 3rd. If we don't have it by then, will Daryl and Bill and Kathy and I can reach out and say, we can push it to the 19th or the 26th. That way we still have it for the June 2nd board meeting.
Sounds like a plan.
Our report would still be on the June 2nd board meeting. Does that sound good, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay. And just so you know, Kathy is retiring, so we want to get this last meeting in before she leaves, because she's
Oh,
a huge help to all of us.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else about the report?
Well, that was just an informational thing, so there's nothing to vote on.
Correct, just a discussion.
Right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next item is to whether.
I've got a question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, if we can go back. And
Sure.
this may not be the right format for it in terms of just going back and looking at the specifics of the building upgrades. Is there any articulation on what that covers? Going back to the screen that I had here.
Were you looking at the report itself, or?
Yeah, were you sharing?
I
Are you
was.
still sharing?
I was. 1 second. I can again.
Yeah, the report itself.
And the page numbers are on the upper right-hand corner.
There you go.
Perfect. So keep going. It was near the end. And it just breaks down where the allocations of monies are going. Keep going. Right there.
Right here.
Okay, so we've got building upgrades and modernization. So some vague terms here. I just was wondering, is there a document or is there a place where that is broken down, and also equipment replacement, the last bullet there? Is there any specific itemization of what that involves?
So this background refers to the initial needs assessment done in 2014 by Balfour Beatty.
Yep.
And so that document, I believe, is available actually on the website. I would have to find it, but I can definitely send it out to the committee.
It is. We can send you this link, but it is on the COC page.
Right.
At the very bottom, there are 3 links, and this is called Preliminary Facilities Needs Assessment.
Right.
Okay, great. And excuse me if this isn't the format, are you able to share if any of those bullet points covers generators or any type of solar improvements on the built structures?
No generators. The solar was initially in Measure J,
Yep.
and still technically is. But actually, we moved it to Measure K because what happened was Measure J, there was solar. What was done is that some of that money was used for other projects, and so solar was whittled down to Matilaha and Nordhoff. As part of Measure K, we have put back in district-wide solar. And so solar is back on the table throughout the district, but it'll be part of Measure K just due to the funding.
And we just
And
did a
does this-
job walk on that yesterday on all the sites.
Yeah, we actually did the job walk. The RFQ was out for solicitation. We did the job walk yesterday. We had 5 firms show up.
Yep.
5 firms show up and walked all the sites. So
Great. And
Yeah,
when you mentioned solar, does it include batteries?
we did discuss batteries at Nordhoff and Matilaha.
Okay.
And the thought process there is obviously Nordhoff. I think we discussed this once on our walk, but obviously Nordhoff is a Red Cross evac site.
Yep.
And then obviously Nordhoff as well, and Matilaha with the new kitchen are both more central kitchens for the district. And
Food
so
bank. Yep.
Moving forward, should there be any sort of issues, power, the rolling blackouts or a Thomas fire or something like that, we do have the capability to sustain those two sites.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, Kara, I think this might be the time to bring up the subject you wanted to bring up.
I just was wondering about, because at the meeting last year, when the Matilah gym was just wrapping up, I had asked about whether the front windows of the gym would be part of that restoration, and you had said they would. And I noticed that there's no more construction stuff there, and those windows are still in a decrepit state. So
You're talking about the gym foyer, correct?
Yeah, at the front entrance.
Right. So the gym foyer was not part of the locker room project, the locker room / gym roof project. However, it is on our Measure K list for the gym foyer. And we've already met with some architects out there for not just the windows, but obviously the gym foyer needs a whole lot of love. So we've met with them already, and we have a couple preliminary designs that we're going through. But the thought there is, rather than just do the windows, we have obviously some ADA issues there as well. So we're going to try to correct all of those issues as part of the project.
Fabulous. Okay, so if anyone asks, I would say all that foyer area is being addressed in Measure K.
Absolutely, because
Thank you.
it's definitely, I think Kathy and Alan and I have talked about it numerous times even, it needs some love for sure.
Yeah, as someone who stood there selling candy in the foyer for months last year, I kept wondering why is this like, it's like the sad cousin who like didn't get invited to the party or something.
It's the Bat Cave,
Yeah.
so but it is part of Measure K. And again, we've already been out there a few times discussing it and walking it. We discussed it with the staff as well as the administration there in terms of needs, some better bathrooms, obviously ADA bathrooms, but as well as more natural light, because it's dark in there.
I would like to just say I was on campus on Sunday to do some preparations for reopening, and the area just looks stunning. I mean, it's just like, you can't even believe it's the same campus with the cafeteria finished, and then the repaved courts, and then the area had been mulched. There were new tables. It just looks amazing. So it's really nice to see those Measure J dollars at work on that campus.
Thank you. Yeah, it does. It looks so much better, and it's only getting better. And so yeah, we have a lot of big plans for all the sites, but in particular, Nordhoff and Matilah have a lot of big plans coming forward for part of Measure K as well. So,
May I bring up a couple of things on future agenda?
Well, if there's no other discussion on 3, yes, that's the next item. Future agenda items. Go ahead.
First one is, since Measure K talks about the aquatic center, is there any information on how you're doing on that? The aquatic center, where it's going to be and all that?
So we formed, there is a pool committee that has met once. Obviously with Measure K passing, the pool is the hot topic, of course, across the community. And it's actually the biggest piece of Measure K in general, but also in Nordhoff campus. Wherever the pool goes, or the type of pool, the size of pool, that really dictates a lot of what else happens on Nordhoff campus when it comes to some of the recreation stuff that's on there. So we are talking about it. We actually we pumped the brakes a little bit on some of the Measure K stuff, because what we did, we did the solar RFQ, but we just finished a RFQ for architectural services as well, that we are presenting to the board on next Wednesday, for new architectural services throughout. Previously, we were using one architectural firm through Measure J. What we've realized is that we need more firms, more specialized firms, especially for some of these larger projects. So what we've done is we put out the RFQ and we received 21 firms that responded with
Wow.
packets. And we narrowed that down to 12 that David and Alan and I interviewed. So once we've narrowed down that, we will then start working with a couple architects, get some bids on the pool and get rolling on that. In the meantime, we have a separate pool subcommittee made up of various community members, community groups, and staff, athletic coaches, athletic directors as well, reviewing all of that and trying to figure out what kind of pool is needed, what kind of programming, where it goes on campus, all of the above. So.
And we've also got a master plan. We've hired a architectural firm to give us an overview of the master plan for Nordoff High, so that they're going to take all the elements that we said are desirables and form them into a master plan, which will include a major remodel or possibly replacement of the cafeteria, the sports complex, the stadium, the pool, obviously, and aquatic center, and possibly an area that's like an amphitheater, performing arts thing. So all of that is kind of can be rolled into a master plan, and that is in the works at the same time.
As well as classroom refresh.
Yes.
So
The other question was on the trees at Miners Oaks, those very large old trees.
yes.
Uh,
So what's the plan?
Yeah, well, Miramonte has a crepe myrtle that's much more reasonable.
Right. So what we're doing, Miramonte and Miners Oaks will eventually receive a similar kind of, actually Miramonte, Miners Oaks, and Topa Topa will all receive kind of a refresh of the interior courtyard spaces where some of those trees have gotten a little too large and all of the above. But Miners Oaks has just been put on the back burner for those interior spaces because we do have the joint project between Ojai Unified and Ventura County Library, where we are talking about converting rooms 9 and 10 closest to the front into the public library. So the public library will be moving on site. So once that's done, then we also have the courtyard space for the library, which then at that point we'll do the courtyard spaces at Miners Oaks, which involves the trees.
Oh, round it all one big bundle.
Yeah, that's the challenge is we get going and then we need to pull back a little bit because we have something else, and we're trying to really do stuff in the right order. It's the exact reason we have a Nordoff site master plan and pool and all of that stuff. We didn't want to just, put the pool down where the old one is and build a bigger one, because what if we want to repurpose it? What if we want to do something different with programming? And we don't want to really pigeonhole ourselves and say, man, if we just slowed down just a little bit, we could have, really thought this whole thing through. So it's the same thing with Miners Oaks and all of the above. So we're just trying to be very, very deliberate on how the order of operation.
At the pool, in the summer, they did a lot of construction with Red Cross. They used that during the summer. Is there any way of saving some of that pool, or is it just a total disaster?
The current pool is
End of life.
end of life. That is the nicest way.
Pull the plug.
Yes.
Okay.
So it unfortunately is end of life. We do need to, and we will be addressing it. It's again, as I said, it is the hot topic. I get asked about it at Vaughn's, everywhere we go. Everybody wants to know about the pool.
Is it long?
So
I have a process question that may seem a little different, I guess. And maybe one of you can answer. There's going to be another COC committee for Measure K, is that correct?
the idea is actually that this committee, assuming everybody rolls forward on their term limits, correct? Kathy, we have to vote on that in May, is that correct?
Correct. The term of this committee ends June 30.
Right.
And so committee members are allowed to have 2 consecutive terms. So if everyone wants to continue, they can. Any vacancies we have, we would open it up to new applicants. And then the board would approve the committee, hopefully at the July or certainly the August board meeting.
So essentially the present committee expires.
Correct, June 30 this
So-
year.
We
Correct.
want you all to roll on over, and we'll just keep calling it Measure K.
Yeah,
And
That's the
you would become the Measure K COC committee.
correct.
Yes.
Okay, I was curious how that worked.
Yeah, that is the current plan, assuming all of you are still on board.
Okay,
That is the plan.
yeah, that's an item for the May meeting, so,
Absolutely. That is actually a future agenda item. So,
right, I was looking at it here. Okay, anybody else have any informational questions, which is kind of where we're at now? Okay, does anybody have
All
any suggested future agenda items? Kathy, I think everybody has that agenda, the draft agenda, correct?
We have not set it out yet.
You haven't sent the May one out yet?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well then, does anybody have any items for future agendas?
anything from May?
And the next meeting is coming up quickly. I hear nothing.
I have, no, I'm gonna do my best to, as early as we can get, I guess. The report we said was going to be due a couple of days before the May 5th meeting. I'm just curious as to, was there a preliminary out or anything like that one could review, just so I can have a better context to be able to, kind of chair the meeting. I just want to, we meet so infrequently. When we do meet, I want to make sure I'm grounded in what the topics are. So other than the agenda, which really kind of cues me in, but if there is any information, Kathy, that comes out preliminarily for the various things we're going to discuss in that meeting, I would like to get that as early as possible.
Well, it'll basically be the approval of your report. There is no preliminary information on the auditor's report yet.
Mhm.
However, the last 3 years' auditor reports are on the website if you'd like to preview those to kind of get an
Yeah,
idea
that's a
of
good
their
idea.
language they use.
Okay, that's cool.
Last year's will, obviously mimic this year's in terms of format, I'm assuming. So
Okay,
They're pretty pro forma, the reports themselves.
Yeah.
okay.
it's a page turner, Carl,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's not terribly exciting.
Okay, thanks.
And yeah, as again, if we don't have the audit report by May 3rd, we will make some adjustments at that point.
Okay,
Will Alan be back by then?
Will Alan be back?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully he might. We'll see. He looks awfully comfortable there in Hawaii.
I'm not paying attention. Okay,
Great thing about Zoom, you can be anywhere you want. Just put a background picture in your set.
Yeah.
anybody else have anything for future agendas?
I do not. Chris, Kara, anything for the future? Good.
Okay,
No, I'm good.
I think
Okay.
we don't need a motion to adjourn, do we, Kathy?
We do not need a motion.
That's what I remember. Then I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.